In the latest episode of our AFL Club by Club draft plan series, we're taking a look at the Blues and the prospects they're tied to this year, the points that they currently have from only 3 picks for this draft, and the conundrum that they're facing over the next 24 months. Carlton are next on our Club by Club AFL draft series for Craft Off the Draft. We've done the Crows and the Lions, so if you missed those and you want to watch those, you can do so on Zero Hanger's YouTube page. But let's get stuck into the Blues. Current draft hand of 34, 45 and 63. It's only 510 points for them, and they have some club-tied prospects to likely attain come November. Harry Dean, Jack Ison and Gresham being the 3 probably headline options. They've got a few more. It's going to be quite interesting. Wrote something on zerohanger.com this week about Harry Dean, and as we mentioned earlier in the show, he's arguably the leading key defensive option in this year's draft class, and really making his case known as a first round consideration. The issue for Carlton is with those 3 picks tallying 510 points, they're going to be relying on him to be picked 26 or later to be able to match a bid on his services. So with clubs that are keen to get key defenders in, they could be valuing Dean a lot higher in this year's draft, which is going to cause a bit of a concern for Carlton, who will need to be quite active in the trade space to be bringing in enough picks to match a bid. Now, picks 34 and 45 hold points, pick 63 doesn't under the new draft bidding system. So what they can hope for is maybe adding another pick to that hand, using those first 3 picks, and then that pick 63 moves up after some bids. I used on draft night, and they're able to use that selection on one of Ison or Gresham if they fetch a bid late into the draft. Obviously, they'll hope that they slip through and they can just automatically list them as NGA linked prospects. But the Dean situation is quite fascinating, because if they do need to add to their draft hand, and they do that by future pick trading, they've got Cody Walker next year, and then the year after that, they're 2027 selections. Don't know what clubs are going to want to do with those, because they don't know if Tassie's coming or not. So it could be, if you've got a top 10 pick in that draft, it could be great value if Tassie aren't coming. And if you've got one, it might not be as strong, just given the impact that Tassie's going to have on that draft order. So a bit of a conundrum for Carlton at this stage.
The other thing that I'd say about the need to get a little bit creative to find the points to match a bid for Dean, that I do think a bid will come before pick 26, A, because of the lack of key defenders that you talked about, but B, I just think he's got all the attributes regardless. That too, like he's clean, he's quick, he can take contested marks, intercept marks, like he's bona fide prospect. So really, really good that Carlton fans will get priority access to him, particularly given Jacob Wiedering has carried the load for so long. Obviously, Jack Silvani's been good this year as well, but yeah, it'll be good for them to have someone else coming through. The other part of it, though, is there's going to be so many clubs, because of the compromised nature of this draft, who are going to be searching for picks to match bids. So that's going to make it a lot harder than what it would typically be. Like, you look at someone like a Gold Coast last year, and they were able to get creative reasonably easily enough to match a bid that was going to come quite highly for Leo Lombard. But when you've got the likes of Carlton, Collingwood are going to have to do the same, as we'll touch on in a second. Essendon, potentially Richmond as well with Louis Callaway, Sydney, Gold Coast, the list goes on. It's going to be quite competitive. Yeah,
so just a quick look at some of the clubs that would be in that consideration. So Brisbane, who we did touch on last week, have 1,600 points. So they might be okay, at least getting Dan Animal through the door quite early in the draft. Gold Coast have 3 first-round picks. So they'll be playing with it as they have been, a different currency. So how Carlton potentially get in their ear a little bit, but the Suns will want to get rid of their early selections, and Carlton don't need those. Because I think at this stage, they won't be picking a player any earlier than Harry Dean. Like, it just seems too difficult for them to get the points and the picks. They got Jagger Smith in last year and opted to go for that draft route, and I think that's probably what they're going to have to do again just this year, given they don't have a first round pick. So it's going to be quite a fascinating one for Carlton. Should we talk what they actually need at
outside of so outside of those 3? So you talk about Harry Dean, the key defender. Tyson Gresham's a small forward, and I think they need a small forward, and then Jack Ison's sort of just a perfectly built player to play anywhere. Really.
Utility.
192 centimeters utility. It was quite good in Vic Metro's first game, been good at school level, and looking forward to seeing for Oakley after missing the first few games. I think the thing they need the most is a small forward They get that through Tyson Gresham, but I think they're in such desperate need. I wouldn't be surprised if they got another. So maybe like a Zane Piker from South Australia.
Yeah, they've got a few on their list, and that's obviously been a bit of an annoyance for Carlton fans is how many they've got. They got Flynn Young as well at the mid-season draft, so they should have a good understanding of where that group sits and what they want to do. Yeah. And you said maybe Gresham's just the one they add to the pecking order, but you certainly couldn't rule them out having another go at adding another. But what that means for your Durdens, your Motlops and a few other, and Young as well.
I guess it comes down to whether they feel like those players have been exposed enough, and Carlton believe they need sort of a genuine A-grade small forward. Are they going to get that with the players on their list? Are they certain they're going to get that with Gresham as well? So, Zane Piker's obviously been in good form for South Australia. Yeah. Some others, though, I think the other area of the ground where they don't have a club-tied prospect is as a tall forward. And obviously, we've got Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay, who have been so good over such a long period of time. But it's probably unwise to continue to rely on them for the long term. They need to start looking at future-proofing that forward line, and potentially players along the lines of a Tyrone Armu or a Liam Heatherton if he falls. I don't think he should fall that far, but he's injured for the rest of the season, which could cause him to slide. They might be in considerations for the Blues.
Yeah, like you can have 2 common medalists on your list, but it doesn't mean you don't look to add some depth there. Harry Lemmy might get a look this week as well, so he's one that they'll hopefully get a good look at and has some strong VFL form. But who's behind him? Hudson O'Keefe has been used as that ruck forward option, and he looked quite good over his first couple of games. He's also injured, so I think they just need another one in the pecking order. Armu might be good, good size on him, and could be. Not that I think again that's the benefit of having Curnow and Mackay. You don't need one playing straight away. And you've got Lemmy coming in, and they can get some development like they have with Lemmy. I flagged Liam Heatherton as one, and that's really he has to slide, and they still have to be a bit creative with their draft selections. Come draft night, because if they want Dean and Heatherton, who are teammates, which is also a nice bonus, they're going to have to do some decent live trading, and it's really going to hurt their points for Cody Walker most likely, and or 2027 selections. So there's some key forwards. I think good ball users is something they really lack at the moment. That loss of Nick Newman's hurt them out of defence. Billy Wilson could be one that can step up, but they need so many more players who can just efficiently switch the ball across the field, up the line, and there's probably a couple options for them. But who do you kind of have, when we talk about Zach Johnson as that elite disposal user straight out of the draft, who's that in your mind this year?
I think the ones that come straight to mind are Matt Leray and Harley Barker, the Fro Bros.
The Fro Bros.
But they're going to go too high for Carlton. So the next ones you look at that are more halfbacks rather than probably your wingers, that those two are Luke Candy's one from South Australia. I've really liked what I've seen from him. And Aaron Sharkey from the Oakleigh Chargers. Another one from the Oakleigh Chargers, an outside midfielder, can go inside as well. ACL injury a few weeks ago is Sam Allen. He's one that could slide. And I don't know, it's just a question of whether he's shown enough in the games that he's played. But Vic Metro listed, and there are certainly some people that are quite high on him. So he's one to keep an eye on for Carlton fans, potentially. But they would like some more clinical ball use across the ground. Jackson Binns, they've also got him on their list, but he's been used spasmodically at best in recent times.
Plenty of focus for the Blues. It's going to be such a fascinating kind of draft period for them over the next 18 months. Just given their access to Cody Walker next year. So something to certainly look forward to both this year and next.